Desert Club, the largest and fastest growing African American youth organization of its kind, is sponsoring a free trip to Egypt. You can be part of a tremendous learning experience and travel to Africa free. 180 students, parents, chaperones, and travelers completed a 10-day trip to Egypt as graduates of the Teen Summit 1000 program. This all-expense-paid journey was the culmination of a 27-month weekend program of educational seminars, homework assignments, field trips, fundraising, and networking activities. The program is designed to develop an awareness of African and African American history and culture and to increase the personal race and self-esteem of children aged 10 to 14 years old. In cities all over the country, through an organization called Teen Summit 1000, a Philadelphia-based educational and cultural enrichment program, African American youth are beginning to develop a strong basis or foundation upon which self-esteem can be built.
It just makes you a stronger person. You know more about yourself. You could be more. You could teach other people more. It's nothing better than actually being able to learn and teach somebody something, especially kids that don't know. They really don't. They hang around the corners because they don't know what to do. They don't know who their ancestors were. Their ancestors built the pyramids. They know everything. You know what I mean? If people back then they could do everything without the technological advances that we have now. So now, black people in America have so much potential, but they just don't realize it. So it's good to make them learn that. They have to know that. They can do anything they want as long as they put their mind to it.
Teen Summit 1000 is the brainchild of Helen and Philip Ali Salahuddin, who wanted to do something to improve the self-esteem, racial pride, and awareness of our African American children.
We realized that these young people need to know who they are. We wanted to start an educational component, and that's how Teen Summit 1000 was started. Ali had gone to the Million Man March and come back with a mandate. Do something for your people, do something for your community. We had gone to Africa.
After traveling to Africa and feeling what I felt about being home, then I made a commitment, Helen and I, we made a commitment that we would do whatever we could to see that African children here in America, or African American children, would get a chance to go home.
Because of that arose Teen Summit 1000, the educational component or program sponsored by or produced by the Desert Club.
The Teen Summit 1000 program is a holistic approach combining the physical, social, educational, and cultural development of today's African American youth. This cultural development helps youth understand their heritage, potential roles in their families, schools, and community. It also helps them become better prepared for the challenges of the 21st century as adults and parents.
Our goal was to increase the academic performance of the students, to see if we could increase their scores on standardized tests like the SATs and the PSATs, to increase their attendance in school, and also to increase the respect that they have for their elders. Those are the four things that we were looking to do, and this is basically what has happened.
But why is this necessary? Dr. Edward Robinson Jr., an African and African American historian, author, and filmmaker, found that our African American youth suffer from low self-esteem and thus act out negative behaviors because of the constant portrayal of negative stereotypes in the media, music videos, and in literature. These stereotypes, coupled with a lack of information about the grandeur of their African origin, give our young people a number of erroneous perceptions which carries through in their behavior.
One of the things that we see is that we really don't know who we are. We think that our history started in 1619 when we stepped off the slave ships. Or we think that the Europeans rescued us from our savage brothers and sisters in Africa who were swinging through trees, living in huts in the jungle. The truth of the matter is that the nearest jungle is about 2,000 miles away from where most of us were captured from. So it's important that not only do we know our history, but it's important that we undo the systematic stripping that was done to us on the plantation for the express purpose of causing us not to revolt and causing us to be satisfied with the condition that we're in.
The Teen Summit 1000 program consists of an African Genesis educational curriculum designed by Dr. Edward Robinson.
We designed it after thought. We designed it to change that sense of personal inferiority.
The results of the Teen Summit 1000 program have been significant. 97% of our graduates are college-bound. There has been an increase in academic performance, an increase in scores on standardized tests, an increase in school attendance, a decrease in lateness, and an increase in respect for elders. During the field trips and meetings, students get to meet other prominent historians and motivational speakers.
Students have to attend 9 seminars. And we bring in speakers that speak on various topics that relate to the accomplishments, basically, of our African ancestors. For instance, we bring in Wayne Chandler, who's the author of the book Ancient Futures, who has worked very closely as a research assistant with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. We bring in a noted Egyptologist, Tony Browder from Washington, D.C., who is the author of a few books. The most notable is the contribution of the Nile Valley civilization. And he shows the children how the city of Washington, D.C. was laid out totally based on ancient African principles. Then we bring in Yasir Rahotep, who's one of the foremost masters of Kemetan yoga in the United States. And he discusses with them the origins and the history of yoga, another contribution made by our forefathers.
The last 2 years, the organization has gone to Egypt, home of the ancient Nile Valley civilizations that influenced the world. 180 students, group leaders, parents, and travelers took this year's trip to Cairo, Luxor, and Aswan to see firsthand the glories and wonders of ancient Africa.
And Egypt is a place of the antiquities. This is where the real history is, where you can see magnificent structures that our foreparents built, like the pyramids.
It was great experience. Woo!
Awesome. That's the only word for it.
I felt like I spent my whole life just to get down into that tunnel, and I got there. It's an exhilarating experience. Got up to the tomb and started back. I started singing Amen.
Like her Mnafket, which is called the Sphinx. Like the statues at Abu Simbel, which were where the statue of the Lincoln Memorial was taken from. The Cairo Museum, where you can see without doubt that the ancient Egyptians were black people. Where you can go into the hair room and see that our foreparents were braiding and locking their hair 5,000 years ago. There's just so much history there in Egypt. But then we travel down to Luxor, where the word luxury comes from, and where you can see just the lushness of the city and the Nile River and the temples of Karnak. And Amin Ra and places like that. And all of these places were built and populated by our African mothers and fathers. In Egypt, we take a Nile River cruise. We ride on a felucca. We have a dinner on the desert.
I know where I want to go, but I had to know about what happened before to go forward.
And see what is there for you to pick up on and learn. And the experience itself is just amazing.
Join the Teen Summit 1000 program today. It's better to build a child than repair an adult.